Perfect.
Hey man.
So, yeah,
So what's your name? Where you're from? Start with the basics.
sure. Yeah, so my name is Pedro Mattos. I'm 19 years old. I am a sales development rep for a company called Self Publishing School. Working out here in near Boston, Massachusetts. Um, Grew up in Brazil and made the move over to America when I was 10 years old, and have been living the American dream ever since. Um, so yeah.
Awesome. And so tell me a little bit about like what was the problem that you were having before you invested in close more clients and working together?
Sure. So the problem that I was having is I'm at a company right now that is growing, and that is adding a few new faces to our sales team, and I wanted to take on a more I wanted to take on a role where I had someone there who had done what we were trying to do with our sales team, and learn from someone that had the blueprint that I was looking for, so I could increase my learning time, and decrease the mistakes that comes with growing a sales team. Um, what that actually looks like was trying to figure out how I could create systems and how I could have the mindset that would therefore increase closing percentages for appointments that I would personally set, and how that would translate into our long-term goal of growing a $5 million company, or a company that does 5 million in a year. Um, After the first call that I had with Mike, um, we really got down to what actually matters, and controlling what I could control, and that was the customer experience and putting um, the customer's experience ahead of anything else. And when you focus on that, the results will happen, and then you don't need to look at the scoreboard after every quarter. You just need to focus on the process, and then at the end of the game, that's when you know that you won or not. And it showed results right away.
So what
um,
were the results?
yeah, so my first week, I was able to um, my sales reps were able to close 30% of the appointments that I set. Um, they closed three appointments out of nine, which actually 3 appointments out of 10, which was my worst week in terms of appointments set, but it was my best week in terms of revenue generated, which at the end of the day is what actually matters. So I was booking less calls, but getting more results on the other end, which is exactly what should always happen when you invest in something like this. Um, and I have been, just the nature of my job, where I'm taking a lot of phone calls and having a lot of conversations every day. Those conversations have actually become a lot more fun. And I've been diving a little bit deeper into what actually matters to the person on the other side, and looking to make sure that they feel listened to and understood, um, before actually putting my interests, which is to book an appointment. Um, you always have to put the customer's best interest in front of yours, and if you do that, then you'll find success. And I found success right away with Mike. Um, I'm looking forward to continuing to working with Mike to develop our sales team, develop my leadership abilities, and at the end of the day, just help the company that I work for and that I love grow and reach our ultimate goal. So definitely happy that I made this investment.
Good man. And then when we talked, like I love your reason. I love how connected you are to the mission and that plays a big part. And I know that
Mhm.
in these conversations now that you've been kind of given that permission to explore more, it's allowing you to find that same passion in the people on the other end, which is cool. Um, One thing, like, what was initially when you were like right about to make the jump, what was kind of the main concern that you maybe would have prevented you from investing and getting guidance, and what really like put those fears to rest?
Mhm. Sure. So I mean, with anyone else, obviously the track record of results, like making sure I was working with someone that not only knew what they were talking about, but actually walked the walk before. And that was really a no-brainer once I got on a phone call with Mike because I had just seen um, like Mike is very, very loved in the sales space, and I saw what he did with traffic and funnels. I watched that closely, and some of his other clients to just praise him. And I had previous conversations with. I actually tried working with Mike a couple of other times before, which um, when you're not the decision maker, sometimes you can't really portray the value of someone else to the person that you're working with. So that's why it didn't work out before. Um, but I mean, for someone that's looking to develop their sales team or improve their sales team, like Mike's the guy, and he's shown it over and over again. So, um, and the money that I am going to spend is only going to be it's the return on investment is going to be um, it's just going to be like a simple ROI and a very quick ROI, which at the end of the day, if your only problem is money, then that's not really a problem, right? Because you're going to make more money at the end of the day than you're actually going to invest into Mike. So
Totally, man.
yeah.
Yeah, and like you kind of brought up, like in the times before when I wasn't able to help you, like I clearly told you and kind of pointed you to
Hmm.
what direction was right for you, and it's awesome where it's led you, you know.
Hmm. 100%.
Now, one thing that I was wondering is specifically, like, what's your favorite thing, or what's the thing that's like stood out to you the most, or that you like the most about working together?
Yeah. So the thing that I liked the most so far was how during our conversations um, you were able to lead me to the actual conclusion instead of telling me what the conclusion was and what I should actually focus on. And when that happens, you just learn a little bit more internally, and it's a little bit deeper of a learning than someone that is just leading or teaching by telling, which I found was really helpful. And just taking as much time as we needed in our conversations to make sure that I was 100% dialed in on my controllables and what I actually needed to focus on, and ignore all the other outside noise. Um, and not only did that happen in the time in our phone call that we had when we were actually working in our program, it also happened before I was actually a client of Mike's. And funny enough, Mike was one of the biggest reasons why I'm sitting in the spot that I am right now. Um, I had a big decision back a few months back as to where I was going to go, what my next move was going to be, and even though I had never personally met Mike in real life, he was a person that whose advice I really took to heart, followed, and was able to see through. Um, and here I am today, working with Mike because of that conversation that we had months back. So
Yeah, and you did the heavy lifting, right? You followed through, which is the biggest thing, which is awesome to see, and
mhm.
it's paying off. So I love watching that. So just to wrap up, like, is there anything that you'd like to add about close more clients and the whole process and working with me, or anything at all that you'd like to share?
Yeah, totally. I mean, just at the end of the day, like there's a lot of misconceptions out there about sales, about growing a business, about growing a sales team. And I feel like it's more important a lot of the times to know what not to listen to and to know what you should listen to. And that's why it's so important to hire someone like Mike, because everyone is telling you how to grow a sales team, how to run a sales call, but most people are wrong. And that's just a fact. And having someone that knows what they're doing so you don't make those mistakes and you don't listen to that bad advice right up front is crucial. So if you have a chance to work with Mike, definitely do.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much for taking the time and kind of breaking down your situation, and I'm excited to see what's on the horizon for you, because right now we're entering the second quarter, and I know that you got a lot of big things ahead of you.
Awesome, man. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks, brother.